Members of the media, good afternoon to everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in this virtual press conference. It's a pleasure to have you all this afternoon as we get set for some exciting announcements. We have with us the president of the Jamaica Football Federation, Mr. Michael Ricketts, and we're also joined by our General Secretary, Mr. Dennis Chung as well, who will go into announcement. And we also have two very special persons that we're going to get into quite shortly as well. Mr. Chung, we'll open the floor with you with opening remarks, and then we can get into the announcement that lies ahead. But first, we just want to remind those as well, this evening, the REGGAE Girls against South Africa at the Montego Sports Complex at 7:30. Mr. Chung, over to you, sir.
How many people do we have here from Media now? There's two persons?
So far, three. Yeah.
Three?
Right.
Okay, so we have Jason Hall, we have Bryce, and who else?
Jason Hall and Bryce so far. Looks like one dropped off, and this is recorded as well. So members of the media will receive this at the end of this virtual press.
All right. We're happy to announce an exciting venture that we had. Of course, Kyle and Gary will go further into it, but the objective what we had is really to monetize the JFF brand and the YouTube channel, because we recognize the power of social media and the fact that we have to connect with our fans. So we thought about what is the best way for us to do that. And we thought that the YouTube channel that we already have in place, that we would activate that. So Gary and Kyle will speak about the actual technical details of it. The president will address it from his point of view because he was the one who thought that strategically we should be moving in this direction. But what it does also, it allows us obviously to earn income on a sustainable basis, because we will be looking at charging an affordable fee per event, and also subscription, which everyone is doing. But it also means that it will allow us to connect with our fan base, right? Which is very important to us. And Kyle, of course, is one of the persons heading a JFF football supporters club out of the States. And he has been very instrumental, because the band that you see in the stadium, which is responsible for at least one or two goals, right, Kyle? Is actually funded by Kyle, so he has been working very closely with us. Of course, we have Gary, who is on the side working with the actual production. Gary, of course, is well known overseas, works with places like Amazon and those places, to deliver content. So he has a lot of experience. And this relationship will help us to not only create a sustainable revenue base, which has been one of the big challenges that the JFF has had, but it also allows us to control our own content. So as of now, the events that JFF is involved in will be broadcast through our YouTube channel, JFF TV. So get used to that. I know that on Friday we tried it on a test basis, and it was very successful. And as I said, Gary and Kyle will speak to the details. This is a very exciting and important development for the JFF. Of course, next week, myself and the president also will speak to you about updates on the JFF. But we thought that this was important for us to advise, especially with the game coming up tonight, when it will also be aired. So at this point, I'm going to turn back over to you, Simon, because I think that's what I want to say about the excitement, the development that's happening, and the fact that we're moving towards more sustainable revenue for the JFF. So, Simon.
Yep, Mr. Chung, thank you very much. Before we hear from Kyle and Gary on this, Mr. President, Mr. Ricketts, anything you'd like to add to what Mr. Chung had to say?
Well, the president will be speaking after. So
okay. All right, no problem.
I can do that now, Simon.
Okay, you may proceed, Mr. Ricketts.
All right. We're just very excited. I mean, we continue to try and explore whatever opportunities may present themselves, so that we can, like as I said, have some sustainable income. And I'm pleased to provide an update this afternoon on an initiative for the Jamaica Football Federation. As you may be aware, the JFF had actually done a broadcast of the girls' game against South Africa on our YouTube channel on Friday, November 29th.
JFF TV.
Right,
JFF TV.
Correct.
JFF Live.
So, the broadcast actually reached a global audience, attracting over 6,500 viewers and accumulated views from over 60,000. So Gario and Kyle would have had some discussions with them, and they are probably the brain behind all of what is happening right now. The JFF would have expressed to these two gentlemen what our intentions are, because like the GenSec has said, we must find sustainable ways and means to ensure that we have income. Because if we are not in a position to fund our projects, then we're going to struggle. And this is an initiative that we are sure will help us to develop our youth programs, help us to, as part of our marketing tool. We are a brand, and we are intent on getting things in the global space so that we can attract viewers and ensure that our football and the diaspora would have some kind of a connection with Jamaica's football. So I really want to reiterate that we are very excited and we are looking forward to a sustainable and productive relationship as we try to ensure that we bring income into the JFF. Thank you very much, Simon.
Yep. Thank you, Mitch, Mr.
You.
Really appreciate it as well. So at this point now, we'll be able to hear from Kyle and Gario on this initiative as well. Kyle, you want to kick things off?
All right. I jump it off. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be here with the JFF president, Mr. Ricketts, the GenSec, Mr. Chung, and those other facilitators in the JFF who got us here today, like Simon Preston, the PR rep, and Tamisha, the secretary. I'm proud to be partnering and collaborating with KMP, Kingston Made Production, Gary Graham, MGT TV Military Guna and his studio crew, and other assets in the UK to present to you the JFF YouTube channel, aka JFF Live or JFF TV. So we did a live broadcast on Friday the 29th. We did a dry run, so to speak, to assess our capabilities of what's needed for the JFF TV, so we could put in the proper infrastructure for 2025. We're doing it for the fans at home and in the diaspora, and those friends around the world who want to see our national teams play football, from the youth to senior teams when the opportunity arises, as it did last Friday. I was told basically no broadcasting entity wanted to broadcast the game locally or internationally for financial reasons. So I consulted with my contacts in the USA, Canada, and the UK for the need and how to implement this broadcasting project. Luckily for me, Gary Graham has a wealth of experience in television broadcasting and global marketing that met all the criteria and skill set to get this project off the ground. So I jumped at the opportunity to partner with him. We presented our proposal to the president and GenSec, who welcomed the conversation with open arms. And they agreed and insisted the fans needed to see their national teams at every opportunity. So we decided to move forward in taking the JFF brand to another level of fan engagement through live broadcasting and other social media exclusive ventures. I mean, 65,000 views with no promotion from the last game. which was pirated by another YouTube channel, which had 10,000 views. That's like 75,000 views total. Speaks volumes of the potential of GFF TV being advertised and marketed properly. This is just the beginning. So we can only grow. We ask that the fans in the diaspora and locally like, share, and subscribe to GFF TV, GFF Live. And thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Kyle. Gario, anything to add towards what Kyle said?
Yeah, once again, thank you, Simon. Thank you, President Ricketts, and of course, thank you, General Secretary Chung, for partnering myself and Kyle on this project. We're very much excited for 2025 and everything to come afterwards. And just to get a little bit more technical with what we're doing, so everyone, the media, and our fans can understand exactly what we mean by doing testings and, of course, the rollout and what that will look like, right? So in the past 5 weeks, Kyle and myself are doing some extensive case studying to see what the market looks like, what are football fans around the world, how are they interacting with their favorite teams, right? And whether it's YouTube or other streaming platforms, streaming will be the future. And that is the key right here, is for us to jump on that, what is going to be the future and what will be the #1 revenue stream for all clubs globally. So I presented those information to both Simon, General Secretary Chung, and of course, President Ricketts, about what the future holds. So we went on a quest where now we are assessing what capabilities we do have at our stadiums here in Jamaica, our assets as far as like physical assets like cameras and Wi-Fi and all these other technical aspects. And in 2025, we will have major improvements in all those areas. We have top-notch cameras coming that will showcase 4K quality all across the board. We have drone aspects. However, last Friday's game, today's game will be example of what our testing capabilities looks like and how we can improve on them going forward. With that being said, we do want to thank NG Sports TV for their assistance on this and getting us going so we can have a benchmark of where we're starting and what needs to be improved on and what the capabilities of all these stadiums looks like. So as everyone already went over the numbers, we had over 60,000 plus who tuned in to Jamaica Football Live on our YouTube channel. And obviously there will be pirates, there will be watch-alongs, there will be short clips that will extend that number much further, that will appeal more partnerships going forward. And speaking of going forward, this is a benchmark for us to, as Mr. Chung started off saying, to set our content, create our voice, and create a platform that best speaks for Jamaica football.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gario. Much appreciated there, and you and Kyle as well. Members of the media, this is your opportunity. If you'd like to ask a question, whether it's to Mr. Chung, Mr. Ricketts, Gario, Kyle, please indicate by raising your hand. Please wait to be identified, and then, of course, you'll be unmuted and you can pose your question. So members of the media, this is your time now to be able to maximize. So we can start with Bryce from the Jamaica Gleaner. Good afternoon, Bryce. Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right, thanks for having me. One of the first questions I want to ask is that is there perhaps a calendar or an estimation of how many games for 2025 to expect, and which teams will all the teams benefit from these increased broadcasting?
Yeah, so great question. Based off the calendar, we are going to target the games that we are legally able to showcase. So if those games are within the rights of the JFF, we will target those games from both the national teams, the Reggae boys and the Reggae girls, the under 20 boys and girls, under 17 and under 15. So we're going to do a full across the board coverage of all of our national sports teams.
Yeah,
within
so Bryce, let me just follow up. Gary is correct. We expect that we'll have maybe about 3 to 5 friendlies next year between all the teams. But in addition to that, the platform can be available to, for example, ISA for schoolboy, which we know is a high demand globally. It can be available for a parish competition. One of the things we worked out in the agreement, so Gary and Kyle will say, okay, these are the ones that have the first choice that they want to hear. If other people think that they have a market, they can also produce the content and put on there, and they can get a piece of the revenue from that. But Gary and Kyle will have the first choice. They are the ones. I should tell you about the agreement. So they stand all the costs for the production. So they will choose the ones they want to do, which is fair because you can't ask somebody to do something for a loss. And then the ones that they said, okay, we don't want those based on the market that they see. You know, someone might see an opportunity, and we would allow anyone who plays football in Jamaica to have the opportunity of access to the platform, because JFF TV is about football in Jamaica, right? So we even though JFF itself will have about maybe 3 to 5 friendlies we can work with, the possibilities are limitless in terms of the other organizations. I don't know if you want to comment.
Not really, but next year should be a very busy year.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely sure that we have a number of games. So we'll be selective in the games that we think are workable. But the future looks bright, and we're very excited.
All right, Bryce, do you have a follow-up question? All right, any other members of the media have any questions? Go ahead, Bryce, raise the hand again.
Right, sorry. I was saying that this was touched on briefly, but I know that these games. Sorry, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
All right, right. This was touched on briefly, but I know that as I said, these games right now against South Africa are used as the test run, basically. I watched those games, and there were some complaints, even though the game was broadcast, about the quality of the stream, and you said that to expect it to improve as the time goes on. Is there like a deadline for these kind of improvements for fans, like you said, the 4K quality, or is it just as the situation goes along and the capabilities is there?
Yeah, first part is the technical aspect of having all the physical assets, like the cameras and all that stuff, will be ready at the top of the year going forward. Now, as far as getting the service to match that 4K quality, they're working on that, and we should have it by time the first game comes around in 2025. So that is the goal. From getting all the physical assets, that is done, that is on its way. That will be ready. Now we're going to get the service to match that quality to project a more high definition viewer experience.
Yeah, I should add, Bryce, one of the challenges that we had with the game on Friday also was not just maybe the camera, but the internet capacity, which we'll have to look at also. You know, internet is always a problem here in Jamaica. So that is something that we can, even with the cameras that we had, which is just 2 cameras, right? And we expect that later, I think military says is going to carry a drone too and get some drone shots. But it's really the internet quality, I think, more than anything else. So we'll address that. That's an easy fix for us. I should add also, Bryce and members of the media, that one of the challenges that this sort of service fixes is that, you know, Jamaica has an infrastructure and capacity problem. So, you know, like we're in Mobe, the seating capacity in the grandstand is 3,500, right? With this initiative, we can reach a much larger audience. And in Kingston, we had over 20,000 people there, but it was near capacity. You know, we have many more people who want to watch it, you know. So this allows them that opportunity to do that.
All right, thank you very much, Bryce. Any other members of the media with any questions that you'd like to raise, whether it's to Mr. Chung, Mr. Ricketts, Bryce, or Kyle or Gario, please raise your hand. So we've heard from Bryce. Any follow-up questions?
All right, Simon, just to make a point, Roy here, is that when we do YouTube stuff, we tend to do it for YouTube Planet only. But the Reggae Boys and the Reggae Girls is an international brand. So the production, though it is not TV per se, it has to carry that same kind of production in terms of the presentation of the content. You know, I agree that the pilot was last game, but going forward, the production has to be of, the international brand that the Reggae Boys and the Reggae Girls are.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% there. And that is exactly why we're taking these steps now. Before these videos are going to be all free, obviously, there will be no subscription attached to them, which is why we just wanted to get it out there, see what the viewership looks like, so we could have a stronghold of what to expect once we get that quality there. And trust me, that's my role in this as the executive producer going forward. It is my job to make sure we get the best quality as possible, and that's the standard I hold myself to. So to get this done within a matter of weeks, just to get it out there and see that we have the capabilities is a win. But to get that quality on a national, international level, where we're going to all be proud of it, where everyone's going to be able to look at it and say, this is something that matches the JFF football quality that we're hoping to get. That is the mission, and we will not put anything out if it doesn't reach that standard.
And Gary and Kyle, that was just Roy Simpson, who Roy is our general manager for teams. So he's
He
this
speaks
guy,
with a wealth of knowledge and experience.
but he was disguising as a journalist a while ago.
Thank you, Mr. Simpson. Any other questions from any members of the media? Again, please indicate by raising your hand and wait to be identified. If we don't have any further questions, then Mr. Chung, Mr. Ricketts, if you have any closing remarks, gentle reminders for this evening. And just before that, a reminder as well, as Mr. Chung alluded to earlier, next week, Friday, we'll have the last press conference for the calendar year. That's Friday, the 13th of December. We'll recap the calendar year, and Mr. Chung will go into further details next week, Friday. So everybody can look out for that, and also the virtual link as well. Mr. Chung, anything you'd like?
Well, no, I just want, before President speaks, the President always speaks last, of course, is just to thank everyone for the support, thank the media, thank Kyle and Gary for this sort of initiative. Roy's on also, thank Roy. I think we've had one or two things that we can improve for the next game tonight, but we have everything in place now. But thank everyone for the support. We expect to win by a bigger margin later, right, Roy? Right. I'm saying, but we look forward to seeing everyone. President.
Yeah, just to reiterate what Dennis would have said, and of course to thank all the stakeholders, the St. James municipality, staff members of the JFF, the police, the fire unit, of course, our own Reggae Girls, who executed so very well on Friday evening. Thank the political directorate, councillors, the members of parliament who have assisted in making what I think was quite a successful exercise last Friday. I want to use the opportunity to implore Western Jamaica to come out this evening. I mean, the forecast is that we're going to have a bright evening, so the conditions will be conducive for good play. So just come out, enjoy yourselves, and support the girls as we are worker bound 2027, and the preparation starts now. So thanks everyone, and hope to see you later.
Thank you, Mr. Ricketts. Kickoff 7:30. See you all at the Catherine Hall Stadium, Montego Bay Sports Complex this evening. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thank you.